Trump touts efforts to end the Department of Education. Good evening, and welcome to this special report. Tonight, we're diving into a bold announcement that's sparking intense debate across the nation. A proposal to fundamentally reshape the American education system is now on the table, with claims that it could revolutionize how students learn and where decisions about their futures are made. The idea? To dismantle the Department of Education as we know it and return control to individual states. This isn't just a policy shift. It's a seismic change in how America approaches one of its most critical institutions. And leading the charge is none other than former President Donald Trump, who recently made headlines with his remarks on the issue. He argues that by decentralizing education, the U.S. can rise from the bottom of global rankings to compete with some of the world's top-performing nations. But what does this mean for teachers, parents, and students? Is this truly the solution to decades of underperformance, or could it create more problems than it solves? Over the next few minutes, we'll break down the details of the plan, hear from experts weighing in on both sides, explore public reactions, and consider what this could mean for the future of education in America. So stay with us. At the heart of this discussion lies a striking statistic. According to recent reports, the United States ranks near the bottom, 38th, 39th, or even 40th out of 40 countries in educational performance. These numbers paint a troubling picture of an education system struggling to keep pace with global competitors like Norway, Sweden, Denmark, and yes, parts of China. Now here's where things get interesting. The argument being presented is simple yet provocative. Federal oversight hasn't delivered results, so why not let states take the reins? Proponents of this approach believe that local governments are better equipped to understand and address the unique needs of their communities. They point to examples like Idaho and Iowa, suggesting these states could rival or even surpass high-performing nations if given full autonomy over education policies. To make this vision a reality, key figures have been brought into the fold. Linda McMahon, known for her work in promoting state-level initiatives, has emerged as a central figure in this effort. Alongside her, other influential voices are lending support, signaling a coordinated push toward decentralization. But while the rhetoric is compelling, critics warn that removing federal safeguards could leave vulnerable populations without essential protections. So, how exactly would this transition work? What safeguards would remain in place? And perhaps most importantly, who stands to gain or lose the most? To help us unpack this complex issue, let's turn to expert analysis. Dr. Emily Carter, an education policy researcher, offers a cautious perspective. She notes that while empowering states may sound appealing, history shows mixed results. For instance, states with limited resources often struggle to implement effective programs, potentially widening existing disparities. On the flip side, economist Robert Lang argues that decentralization could unleash innovation. By allowing states to experiment with new teaching methods, funding models, and curricula, he believes we might see breakthroughs that federal bureaucracy stifles. One area of agreement among experts, however, is the importance of accountability. Without clear metrics and oversight mechanisms, there's a risk that returning power to the states could lead to inconsistent quality. As Dr. Carter puts it, the devil will be in the details. Another critical question revolves around equity. Federal programs like Title I grants and special education funding currently provide lifelines to underserved communities. If those funds were redirected or restructured, would all states step up to fill the gap? Or would some fall short, leaving millions of children behind? So how are everyday Americans responding to this proposal? Unsurprisingly, opinions vary widely. Parents in rural areas, for example, express hope that localized control could lead to tailored solutions addressing their specific challenges. One mother from Idaho told reporters, "I want my kids learning skills that matter here, not something designed for New York City." In contrast, urban educators and civil rights advocates are sounding alarm bells. Many fear that stripping away federal oversight could roll back hard-won progress on issues like desegregation, disability rights, and access to advanced coursework. A teacher from Chicago summed it up bluntly. "If you think inequality is bad now, just wait until states start picking winners and losers." Social media has also exploded with commentary. Hashtags like #SaveOurSchools and "Education Freedom" are trending, reflecting the deep divide between supporters and opponents. Some users celebrate the potential for innovation, while others worry about losing protections they've come to rely on. It's clear that this proposal strikes at the core of what people value most about public education. Looking ahead, the implications of such a move are vast and not entirely predictable. On one hand, proponents envision a future where states become laboratories of learning, each crafting systems perfectly suited to their residents. Imagine Iowa pioneering agricultural science curricula, or tech hubs like California developing cutting-edge STEM programs. However, skeptics warn of unintended consequences. Without federal standards, disparities between states could grow exponentially. High-income areas might thrive, while low-income regions face further neglect. Additionally, the loss of national data collection efforts could hinder our ability to track progress or setbacks across the country. There's also the political dimension to consider. Education has long been a contentious battleground, and this proposal is likely to intensify partisan divides. Lawmakers will face immense pressure to balance competing interests, all while grappling with questions of fairness, funding, and feasibility. Ultimately, whether this plan succeeds or fails may hinge on one factor above all: trust. Can Americans trust their state leaders to prioritize education equitably? Or will the absence of federal oversight expose cracks in the foundation of our system? As we wrap up tonight's report, it's clear that the conversation around education reform is far from over. This proposal raises profound questions about governance, equity, and the very purpose of public schooling. While the promise of innovation is tantalizing, so too are the risks of fragmentation and inequity. Now, we want to hear from you. Do you believe returning education to the states is the right move, or do you think federal oversight remains essential? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for more in-depth coverage of the stories shaping our world. Thank you for joining us tonight. Until next time, stay informed, stay engaged, and remember, the future of education is a decision we all have a stake in.